Welcome to another harmonious Jason Whitlock Harmony Conversation. Joined today by someone who appears on Fearless almost every day, Shamika Michelle, but we have a special guest as well who's been making some regular appearances on Fearless and has come into town to do some shows with me talking about the NBA. Jay Skapinac, Skap Attack. Skap told me something as soon as he got here about he was at both of the Trump Butler, Pennsylvania rallies. And I'm like, hold on. You were there when they tried to kill the president, and I'm just now hearing this? Did you ever share this with John Hadley or anybody? Did you ever share it with me? How could someone that works on our show or comes on our show was in Butler, Pennsylvania on, I can't remember what day, what month was that?
The first one was in, I believe it was June.
June, yeah. And I never heard about it.
And then October was the follow-up one.
Got you. So were you keeping this a secret, Skap? Were you embarrassed to be MAGA and at that rally? What you scared there's going to be a hit on your life?
Well, I wouldn't say it wasn't a secret. I wasn't trying to keep a secret from anybody. But, Jason, I have to say, I've been kind of living in the closet for years, it feels like.
Hold on.
Yeah,
hold on a second. Jay's wife is just off camera. I want to be crystal clear about that. And she's a beautiful young lady. From what I was told, I went out to dinner with them earlier this week, and Jay's wife, Cynthia, was blind when she actually met Jay, and then they had some kind of miraculous surgery where she got her sight back, and she stuck with him. A good Catholic girl doesn't believe in divorce, and so she stuck with, despite having her sight back, she stuck with him. Anyway, go ahead.
True underdog story. Anyway, yeah, it was, I've been in the closet, Jason, because I've been a conservative my whole life. I went to Penn State for my undergraduate degree and pretty liberal school. And I was in broadcast journalism. Actually, I studied that in college, believe it or not. And also, as you might imagine, pretty liberal major. So, it kind of from a young age, I kind of learned to not necessarily disclose what I am, what my political affiliations are, right? And, yeah, when I started this YouTube channel as well, I was pretty intentional at the beginning of my journey, which was only like 2 years ago, that I was not going to be very open with my political affiliation, just because of the pressures, as you know. Obviously, you know better than anybody. I don't really have to tell you about it. The pressures of conformity and mainly just don't be a conservative in whatever, the media, in Hollywood. So as I'm trying to break into, at fairly an older age too, may I add, that I didn't want to rock the boat, so to speak. So, it wasn't that I was ashamed, embarrassed, or whatever. I was just not being an outspoken advocate or proponent of what my political affiliations were. So I didn't let many people know that I was going to the first Butler rally. But I'll tell you this, and this is why I'm doing this having this discussion with you right now. This is why, I'm not afraid to talk about it now, is because I think the events, what I witnessed at that first Butler rally, changed me intrinsically. Like, it altered my outlook and my philosophy on the way I'm going to carry myself for the rest of my life, basically moving forward now.
So at that first rally, there's 8,000, 10,000, 15,000. Oh, you think more 20,000? Your wife is saying.
Jason, let's not believe the liberal media bias spin on the numbers. The first one probably still had around 40 to 50,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, still, you're one of 40 to 50,000 Americans that was at one of the most historic events. I think 100 years from now, if we stay on this course, they'll be talking about how transformational that assassination attempt was, kind of locked up the presidency for Trump and the election cycle. Did you share that with your audience on your channel?
No, in fact, Jason, this is actually here, just so, look, I say 40 or 50,000, but I don't want to diminish the fact that my wife and I were there 10 hours beforehand. So we were one of the probably 3,000 to 4,000 that were in the actual like kind of little fenced off barricades where like the staging was. We were, here, let me just show you real quick I have a video queued up here, just to give you some idea of, like how close we actually were.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I would say maybe 40 yards from the stage, essentially.
Yeah.
And
floor seating, you're on the ground, and you're 40 feet. And so when the bullets rang out, could you hear them? Did you know instantly what happened? Or
so we were actually not where the Corey, not the bleachers where Corey was shot and killed, but the other set of bleachers where 2 got wounded.
Yeah.
We were actually going to sit in those bleachers, but we decided it was kind of a side vantage point. So we decided we wanted to be like more like central, like an actual like good front on shot.
When you say we, are you saying your wife was there with?
Yep.
Oh, you got you a ride or die. You got you a good one.
Yeah, Jason. Well, because you
didn't have to drag her there. She wanted to go.
Kidding? You should see that. I'll show you some pictures off cam here. This girl, she's got this big, like a kind of assault rifle MAGA edition thing that she loves, like her pride and joy.
She's got an AR.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll get those pictures too. She's off stage right here.
Where'd you meet her on MAGAmatch.com? What is there? Because I need to figure out that website, MAGAmatch.com. Go ahead.
Honestly, I was more politically affiliated when we met. She really got entrenched in this within the last probably
look at Skap bragging.
9 years, but.
He discipled her into the right mindset.
Not at all.
That's what he's saying. Go ahead and brag, man. I'm very impressed.
Well, it was just fortuitous that she was already kind of headed down that track when we met. But we had both voted for Trump previously. We had voted for him twice, and we're thinking, look, we're fans, we're supportive, we love what he's doing, we admire it, but we've never really seen him. So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I grew up maybe 40 minutes outside of Butler, just about. So I figured, we'll fly in real quick for the weekend. My parents still live there. They'll drop us off, we'll get there nice and early. And we were right, deep in there next to Trump. But Jason, when the shots rang out, I'll be honest with you, I had no clue what was going on. The way it was strategically, the way it was happening logistically, he was talking about immigration at the time. And he had a slide, which if you hear him interviewed about it in the aftermath, he went off script. He went to that slide earlier than was anticipated. So he was kind of riffing a little bit and gesturing. He was walking away from his podium and gesturing. There were 2 screens flanking the stage. And I was looking, my attention was drawn to the one screen, looking at the graphics that he was referencing when the first rounds rung out. And it struck like a hydraulic lift that was off stage. And I looked immediately over because I heard the explosions when it hit the hydraulics. And I just assumed that there was some malfunction with the hydraulics or that it was fireworks or something. Never, in the split seconds that it was happening, never did I think these are bullets, like someone's shooting. And as soon as I turned back to look at Trump, so matter of seconds, he was gone. He was already on the ground. And at that point, more bullets are ringing out. And at the time, I was just dumbfounded. I didn't know what was happening. And I feel my wife was tugging at my pant leg, and I looked down and everybody around me was on the ground. And I was just standing there like bewildered. So finally I, did what everybody else did and hit the ground.
So she saved your life, basically, is what you're saying, and she probably is going to hold that over your head for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
As any good woman would. But go ahead.
So when I'm on the ground, this is all, it seems like minutes, but it's seconds. And I hear all of a sudden cheers breaking out. And I look up and I see Trump up on the stage. And again, now more confusion. I could see that he had like blood on his face, but he was just the look of sheer defiance on this guy's face, surrounded by, it's just, I know we all know the iconic photo now. But to see it live and to experience like the sheer uncertainty, the fear that was inherent in everybody, and then to see his angry defiance at what had happened and his reluctance. He was fighting the Secret Service agents, it looked like, to get back on stage. Like, this guy, I genuinely believe, wanted to go back on stage and keep speaking. It was that, so that, Jason, utterly transformed my outlook on everything. Like, I will never forget the moment, like, looking up from that, again, on just surrounded by the turmoil and fear, and seeing the confidence, the power from him. That's why I'm talking about this right now. That's why I'm not afraid to put my feelings out there anymore, because this guy, I mean, he almost made the ultimate sacrifice for the country. And like, who am I now to cower away and pretend like I'm not supportive of him? So I think, I mean, did it wrap up the presidency that day? You can make a case, but I think that it also won a lot of people over, and maybe even empowered people like me who might have been living in the shadows at the time to come out and be more unafraid and to speak openly in support of it in him.
What an amazing experience. I'm telling you, that experience, obviously you'll be telling your grandkids about, you'll be telling your family about, you'll be sharing that story, that you were there the day history changed and the course of that election changed. What a moment. And then you made it a point to return back for when he returned to Butler, Pennsylvania, I believe in October. Tell us about that experience and, you know, why you wanted to go back.
Well, and just real quick to wrap up that moment, once we all got to our feet, and once Trump was secured and in his vehicle, no one really knew what was happening. Everyone's cell phones were essentially cut. I think Secret Service to put some kind of a jam on cell service at the time. So really no one understood what was happening. And probably, I don't know, 20 or 30 agents rushed in to the little like fenced off paddock where we were at. And within probably 3 to 4 minutes, when the first shot rang out, everybody was just rushed out. Everybody was running back through the parking lot, and no one was detained. No one was questioned. Like, no one asked for any additional, like, I would think that's an active crime scene, right? Where the former president and maybe the presumptive soon to be president-elect was, you know, nearly assassinated. I would think that there should maybe be some level of investigation that started immediately, but we're all just running frenetically to like our cars, running through the parking lot.
Let's don't forget, they identified the shooter 2 to 3 weeks beforehand. They knew who was going to kill him, so it didn't require much of an investigation. Hey, we've already shot and killed the guy we set up to do this. Some of this I'm being sarcastic about, but they didn't do much of an investigation because all the witnesses had already testified, hey, there's a guy climbing up the building there with a gun, and he's up there and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, but I've cut you off for no reason other than to be sarcastic.
But you're right. I mean, I don't necessarily prescribe to all of the conspiracy theories, or really many of them, but if you were there and to see the aftermath of the investigation, it is difficult to not believe that there was something more at play in this specific instance. But I'll tell you, even more to me, I wasn't, like I said, I was bewildered when the shots rang out. I didn't know what was going on. The more frightening aspect of the day for me was that walk back to the car. There was just this massive open field. There were all of these people all just running all over the place. Were there more shooters possibly somewhere? Was there a bomb somewhere? Like, I didn't know what was going on at that moment. So getting to the car was honestly the most frightening and like harrowing part of the day for me. And really that experience, the way it ended, kind of played a factor into my wife and I wanting to go back to Butler in October when he did it again. First of all, it was about 90 degrees, uncharacteristically blisteringly hot in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania when the first Butler rally happened. So October, it was going to be a nice cool day. And, you know, we had waited, like I said, 10 hours to see Trump speak for 7 minutes before he was nearly killed on the first one. So we figured when it was announced in October and when it was the date worked out, we just decided we have to get back there. And we went even earlier, Jason. This time we got there like 6 a.m. For the redo in October, thinking like we're being pretty cagey. We're like, well, we'll show up at 6. We'll be first, 100, 200 in line, 12, 13 hours out from when he speaks. And we got there. There's probably 15,000 people there in line already. So to your point on numbers earlier, 100,000, Jason. Like I say that without blinking an eye. Probably 100,000 people in Butler, PA for the redo. And it was a lot different feel there. There was a lot more security there. Every roof that you looked at where there was nobody occupying them before, there was like a team of people. And these were the don't F around team too, Jason. These were like Army, military, paratroopers, like mercenary teams that he had deployed throughout the crowd. These weren't the DEI Secret Service hires that were there for the first one. These guys were just utterly jacked. I think I saw one woman of the 30, and she would kick my ass, Jason. She was probably like 6'1".
Not saying a whole lot, but I hear you.
She was probably about like 6'1", like 190, like just jacked, tatted up. Like you don't want to mess with this woman, nor any of these other guys that were there. But other than that, the atmosphere was incredible. Jason, I feel like it was kind of felt like a little mini RNC. Like everybody was there. Elon was there. Laura was there. Eric Trump was there. Like there was just so many speakers. It went into the night. It was we got there, like I said, 6 a.m. It was pitch black when it ended. He had the that operatic singer that he loves so much that's on all the time. He does the RNC. He had to do 7 to 10 songs, and Trump was teasing it. He's like, we're going to have the singing will continue after, so guys stay in. He stayed on stage the whole time. Trump was on stage dancing to these songs till probably 9 o'clock, 9:30 p.m. at night. So, I mean, it was just an incredibly long day, but so fun, so rewarding. The atmosphere there, the people, like the support, the positivity, it was absolutely insane, which is why I still to this day cannot believe this guy lost the election in 2020. But that's another story. That's another conspiracy for a different day, as they would say. But two of the most crazy days of my life. We talk sports a lot, you and I. I was at Kobe Bryant's last game ever when he scored 60 against Utah in Staples.
Did you see? I co-hosted or guest hosted Colin Cowherd's show the next day after Kobe scored, and I took a dump on that 60-point performance. That's one of my most memorable moments in broadcasting. But I want to ask you get there at 6 a.m. and you leave at 9 p.m. Are you on your feet the entire day?
So we were the first day we were like down and on the ground in front of the stage. The second time we were in the bleachers right directly behind Trump on the second Butler rally. So basically you get there, you're in line immediately. And unless you want to sit on the ground or you bring a folding chair with you, which you cannot take in. So you can bring a folding chair. You can buy, my wife and I bought a folding chair for a couple bucks at Walmart and just knew we were going to discard it essentially when we got in. So we had like an umbrella and some water and stuff and a chair, which you just have to leave at the gate before you go in. And then, so you just wait in line for probably about 5-ish hours, and then you get into the venue. And we were fortunate enough, we were close enough to the gate when we arrived that we got into the bleachers behind him. So we had bleachers. So the first day, yes, we were standing in like 90-degree heat for hours and hours and hours. But the second day, we were fortunate enough to get the bleachers. But yeah, it is a grind, Jason. It's a long day.
So the first one, you're on your feet for a solid 8 hours for that day, or
12 hours. By the time we got back to the car, probably about 12 hours. And I mean, quite frankly, to just be candid and honest, there were not a lot of young people there necessarily. There were people that were in their 60s, 70s. Like, I was shocked at the amount of older people that were there for hours and hours. And the heat index was near 100 in Pittsburgh, which is unusual. I think I heard there were some 300 heat-related medical issues throughout the day. So they had like the EMS, the fire department there, and they were great. There were people, the response was quick. Actually, there was a moment where there was someone that needed attention in the bleachers right around us, and Trump just essentially paused his whole his speech and waited for the medical personnel to get there and take care of things. But yeah, it was just, but people were helping people, like getting them water. They were handing out water. We were sharing water. Other people were sharing water throughout the day. We had a fan, actually, like a little motorized battery fan that we took with us, and my wife was handing it out to people that were kind of having trouble with the heat. But yeah, it is a long day. People will show up a little bit later if they don't care about being nearby. But Cynthia and I, we figured when we went the first time, like, again, we were Trump supporters. We wanted to be, this was the first time we were getting to see him. Like, let's get there early, be there as close as possible. And if you want one of those good seats, you got to be there all day long.
The only experience I have anything like that is the Million Man March. I went to D.C. in the 90s for the Million Man March, and we never sat down from, let's say, 7 a.m. until we left at 7 p.m. or so. And I can remember Farrakhan's speech was horrendous, and it went on forever, 2 hours, and it was a bad speech. And so we were halfway disappointed. It was confusing and just, MLK's I Have a Dream speech is like 13 minutes. And Farrakhan spoke for 2.5 hours. And I know Trump gives a lot of long speeches.
He does.
But that's the only thing that I can relate to in what you're talking about. When 100,000 people are willing to go stand out in the sun, the heat, for 8 to 14 hours in a day, it speaks to a level of passion to what Trump was doing. And it just... Kamala Harris and all the Beyonce concerts and Megan Thee Stallion concerts and all of that they had to do to get their crowds out, to think that 100,000 people would sign up for, I'm going to stand out here in this heat and stand out here for Trump, and it's going to go, I'm going to get here at 6 a.m. and we're not leaving until 9 p.m. It speaks to a level of passion that is really, really mind-blowing. The last thing I want to ask you about, and you tell me if we shouldn't talk about this, but you mentioned a relative that you've seen transform from a Republican conservative hater to a Trump supporter. If you don't want to tell the story, you don't have to, but I just wanted to ask about it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. It's actually my twin sister.
And you got a twin sister?
A twin sister. And she... Like I said, my whole life I've been conservative. Her whole life she's been very liberal because she, a militant agnostic / atheist, pro-abortion. Like that's her number one topic for most of her life was women's rights and abortion. And, so much that she
feminist. She's a hardcore feminist.
Yeah. And, for the
first demon on her. Feminism is a demon. We have to perform an exorcist on her, but go ahead.
And the setup, Jason. The stereotypical like Christmas, like the holiday gatherings where it's like, that one family member, either side, what it is, that they come and make it uncomfortable for everybody else. Like, that it would deteriorate into yelling matches between certain people of the family and her. So, she was out there, kind of, protesting Trump the first time he ran. She had the F Trump stickers like all over herself and bikinis at these Trump rallies the first time. Now go on to this first Butler one. The way my wife and I found out about it was because my mom was telling me about it, like, oh, Sarah's going to the Trump rally in Butler. And I said, really? Sarah, to do what? To No, Sarah's a big
active shooter.
It was not. I could confirm it was not my twin sister that was on the roof. No, but it was. She has become this huge Trump supporter. She is now gone from that, 8 years ago to she's now the daddy's home Trump supporter. She has the Trump gear. She was there in the first Butler rally, so she proudly voted for him this time. So it honestly,
What flipped her? Do you know what?
I think, Jason, she kind of grew up a little bit, to be honest with you. She was, she's been working a real job. She's been paying real taxes. She's been seeing the inequity, the way that non-American citizens are treated better than her. And I think just getting a little dosage of that finally just made her lose it and reverse track. So, and I think I was nervous going into this election because, let's face it, if 2020 went the way it went, who knew what was up the sleeves, potentially of some of the other side maybe. But when I heard that my sister was voting Trump, that's when I felt good about it. That's when I knew that he was going to win this time.
Skap, I got one more thing I want to talk to you about. I played you, and we'll play the clip again, but I played this to you off air, Skap, and we'll play it again, share it with the audience. But Marcus Morris, longtime NBA player, someone that I've known or met when he was 18, 19 years old at the University of Kansas. He and his brother Markeith, great players for the University of Kansas. Again, can't say, and we used to shoot dice at the same casino in Las Vegas at the MGM. And so, I've stood at some craps tables and shot dice with these guys for some long stretches, but met them when they were stars at Kansas. These tough guys in the NBA, really, I thought really good players and good. They were enforcers. They were like Charles Oakley with some offense, and so Marcus Morris, I believe, is out, and Markeith Morris is still in the NBA. But Marcus appeared on First Take with Molly and Stephen A. And what's the female basketball?
Yeah.
That's
Chimene Gumakwe.
Chimake Ongumakwe. I
mouthful.
think I said that. Well, anyway, they're on that show, and they're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, and Marcus Morris said this.
Games like this, Draymond will have to hold them down defensively, but if the whole team plays together, I think the Warriors eke this one out.
Yeah, and I got to agree with both of you guys. I mean, I think it will be a really tough game. I really like the Grizzlies. Like, the YNs, they really come into play, right? Like, they're going to be excited. They're going to be ready to go. But listen, Steph Curry, Jimmy Buckets, Draymond Green, I think they understand the importance of winning this game, getting more rest. They've been in this.
And so for those of you that don't know what YN stands for, when he's talking about their YNs are really playing well, and it made the Chimnaqua giggle, and then Stephen A. kind of batted his eyes, and Molly didn't know what to do. YN stands for Young Niggas. And he's saying this on ESPN's platform, and I look at it, here we go. This is everything that I'm talking about. They've rapified sports broadcasting. The dumbing down, the profanity being laced into all conversations, all parts of pop culture, all parts of the entertainment industry. No one can go on these shows without cursing. Now we got guys referencing N-words and making that a part of the everyday conversation. And the whole thing is stupid. It's all a part of an overall degradation of just communication and just, again, it's like I've lived long enough to remember when rappers used to rap about real things and try to educate people, uplift people, just promote fun. And then all of a sudden it just went into, hey, if you're not rapping about bitches and hoes and killing each other and selling drugs, no record label really wants to be associated with you. No one wants to support your music. And it's like, I'm looking at the same thing happen in the sports media lane. And you've heard me talk about it. Like, hey, if you're a black guy and you're a former player and you want to get into TV, do a little dirt while you're in the NFL or NBA. Get an arrest record of some kind. That'll make you more valuable in the media space. And this is just another example of it. Am I making too much of what we just saw from Marcus Morris?
I mean, Jason, that's pretty shocking footage. It looked so intentional by Morris. Like he kind of slowed for a moment and thought about it. I mean, that wasn't a mistake or a slip. He went in with a plan. All right. And it was to drop that. And the reaction was, what even was that? You've got the girls giggling. Stephen A is just looking baffled. That was just yet another chapter in the pathetic book of ESPN. I think this is why viewership on that network is dwindling and declining, I think, because no one cares what these people have to say. Really, they don't respect them really as people, let alone as analysts. So the ESPN has systematically, it looked like they've purged all of their good analysts and gotten rid of them to bring in this element of whatever it is.
Suge Knight.
Yeah, it's literally, that clip is kind of like the personification. It's like a microcosm of where ESPN is, like where they've gotten to and why they're going to continue, I think, to flounder and suffer in the ratings department. That was something else. Although with what ESPN's doing, maybe Morris has just worked his way into a regular slot now moving forward on that network.
We've seen Molly object to guys, don't. She'll try to jump in and stop people from saying things they're not supposed to say. But here, nothing. And obviously, Stephen A. Smith, he's the face of that show. It's his show. I've been in that position. Would speak for yourself at FS1. Trust me, if someone, a guest, said something that inappropriate, I'm like, hey, we ain't doing that here. That's not what this show's about. We can stop all. And Marcus want to talk salty or whatever and say, hey, let's go to commercial break. When we come back from commercial break, Marcus Morris won't be here. He's worth $150 million. He doesn't need to be here. He's got his money. Marcus, we'll see you next time. But none of that happened. And it's because this is why they've polluted all these conversation shows with women and with emasculated men, so that they can plug a Trojan horse, an alpha male who's got some thuggish tendencies, who can be the big U or the Suge Knight of a situation. And now he's surrounded by a beta and two women. They're not going to stand up to him. There's no standard that's going to be upheld. They're going to fold, and that's what happened. And I know some of you would like just hate Stephen A. Smith. Now, I'm telling you what I know and what a real man who's running the show and has some kind of standard code of ethics, like, man, we ain't coming on my show, this brand I built up. You're a guest. You've played in the NBA. I'm allowing you on my platform. We ain't doing that here. You can do it in your NBA locker room. You can do it on the NBA court. I don't care what Adam Silver legalizes you to do on his basketball courts in his arenas. On this show, where I know young people are watching, I know old people are watching, we got a standard here, and you've just crossed it. But again, we've emasculated most men, and we've installed women in all of these environments. There are no male spaces. And so everybody's soft and gushy. And when the bully shows up, Marcus Morris, and the bully is what made him a very, very valuable NBA player, wasn't afraid of anybody, he's an enforcer and all that, but makes him valuable on the basketball court. But at some point, you got to be man enough to stand up. And I've been in this position where these athletes, and again, I'm just a fat old man, but, if somebody got to take a shot at me or slap me or whatever, I'm going to survive. I've been hit before. It'll be fine. But I am going to enforce. You're on my platform. You're going to have to answer to me about how we conduct ourselves. But
I just want to say, I don't think that's an unfair point by you. And it really goes beyond that. Stephen A. Smith, that's not just his show. He thinks of himself as the face of ESPN. You know, he has said it in the aftermath of his big new contract extension that he is the face of the network. And then also he's been parading around as a fake tough guy since this LeBron James interaction occurred on during that Knicks game, talking about about how he would have swung on LeBron if he put like pretending to be this kind of tough guy. And then that happens today. He just kind of gets shown up and emasculated on his platform, on his network. I don't think this is an unfair take by you at all, Jason.
Well, we're going to end it there. I don't think we can do any better than that. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time here on Harmony.
Up so divided, stop fighting and stand tall. We used to be a nation, one united. Now we're headed for downfall. Gotta let your light shine.